Hey everybody, welcome to Frannie's Hair. Today I'm going to show you some tips on how you can take a regular synthetic wig that has no features, basic cap, and make it look more natural. So stay tuned. Okay. So I'm going to take you through all of these tips and I'm going to use this wig. This is Aesthetica's Shelby in the color Caramel Kiss with a rooting of 4, and she is a non-heat friendly basic wig. She doesn't have a lace front, she has no monofilament. So I'm going to take you through each of these steps to make your wig look more natural, and I'll be using her. Alright, so first things first. If you saw this wig on me, you would probably say, that looks like a wig. So let's start with the hairline. When we first put on the wig, we want to make sure that we set the hairline at the right place. And the hairline is typically 4 fingers from your eyebrow up. Now, not every hairline is exactly the same, and in fact, my hairline keeps moving back as I lose hair. So you want to place the hairline where it looks natural for you. Right now I have this hairline way too low. If I were to move her all the way back, like up here, I would say that's too far back. If I use the 4-finger rule, I think I want to bring her down just a little bit more like that. And right there, that makes a huge difference. Now, I'm not saying that this wig still doesn't look wiggy. We have more to do. But that's your first step, putting your hairline in the right place. And that's something that I see quite often with new wig wearers because you just don't know where to put the wig yet. A good rule of thumb is that 4-finger rule. You can also go by your natural hairline and, play with it to see where it looks best. Now, I do have another video that I talk about using things like where your hairline is to actually accentuate certain features and de-emphasize others. I'm going to link that in the description below. It goes into an analysis of the face and how you can use wigs to really accentuate those things that you want to accentuate. All right, so now we have Shelby, I think, in a pretty good place on my forehead. The next thing I like to look at is the part. Now, Shelby has no monofilament and she really doesn't have much of a part. And some people like that. This much volume on top is not a way that I would wear my hair, and that's what you really want to think about when you're looking at the wigs. This style could look great on somebody else, but for me, I want to make this wig my own. I want to make it work for me. So I do like a part. So the first thing I'm going to do is, I like a left side part, is I'm just going to kind of fabricate a part where I want it to be by just combing the fibers to each side of this is where I'd like my part. Now, like I said, I don't have monofilament, so you don't have the look of scalp there. So that's the next thing we're going to talk about, making it look like you have a scalp showing. So you can do this for a basic wig that has no monofilament. You can also do it for wigs that do have monofilament to make the part stand out more. So what I do for this is I take either a highlighter, a face powder, eyeshadow, some color in the scalp-like color there. And I use a brush that's pretty small and thin so I have a lot of control. Now I'm going to just take some of this powder, I'm using the lightest one here, and I'm going to apply it to my part right here. And I can't see that well on the camera, so I'm just going to show you that I apply it in the part, and then I'm going to go over and do it in the mirror, and I'll be right back. And I try not to make a perfectly straight part because I also think that looks more natural. I think a perfectly straight part just doesn't look good. But again, it's preference. You do what works for you. Okay, so let me just get a little bit more part up front here. Sorry, I have to do this over here. I really can't see in the camera. All right, so there you go. You can see. Now I have a part. It's a powder part, but it's a part. And it'll just catch people's eyes like, oh yeah, that's a part. That's her scalp. Okay, now, if you have a wig that has monofilament and you can see through, but maybe you have dark hair under there or something, and it's just not looking scalp-like. Another thing you can do is there's this stuff called scar tape, and you can get it on Amazon. I'll link some below. It's not expensive, and you can actually put this where the part is. I'm going to show you that. Okay, this is my Beltress Montecito in Mocha Maple Brown, and you can see she does have monofilament here. But if I had her over my dark hair or something and it just wasn't looking scalp-like enough for me, I would take this scar tape and put it in here under the monofilament, and there you go. Looks much more scalp-like. Simple little trick. Okay, now let's go further. All right, so now I have my hairline in the right place. I have the illusion of scalp happening there, but this is still not my style. Now this is not a heat-friendly wig, but luckily we have a new tool that can be used on non-heat friendly wigs, heat-friendly wigs. You can even use it on your natural hair. I've done that. It's called the MV 3-in-1 Air Styler, and it's 3-in-1 because it has 3 tools. It has this curling iron, curling brush, and then a bigger brush attachment. And if you didn't see my video that I did with the educators from Envy where they actually showed me how to use this tool, I'll link that below as well. It's a game-changing tool. There are other tools out there, or at least one that I know of, that can be used on regular synthetic wigs. Renee of Paris makes one. It's a heat comb looking thing, and it's a great tool also. What I love about this is that you can use it on both heat friendly and non-heat friendly because it has an adjustment for high, medium, and low. It is more pricey because you have the 3 attachments and it can be used for both. So you have to decide what you're going to be using your styling tools for and get the right one for you. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is actually style this wig in a way that I would wear it. Okay, I'm going to wear Montecito while I work on Shelby here. So, few things that I didn't like about Shelby for me was just the poofiness at the top. So I'm going to try to bring that down a little bit. And I think for that, I'm going to use the brush attachment. So I'm just going to take out the curling iron attachment here. Now because I'm working on a non-heat friendly synthetic wig, I want to make sure that I keep the heat low. I don't want to ruin the fibers. So I'm going to move this arrow here to low. And I'm going to use a low fan as well. So there's a low fan attachment here and a cool shot here. Now this doesn't work the way your regular heat tools work on your natural hair. And when I first got it, I was like, this thing doesn't work. So I talked to them at Envy and they taught me how to use it. You have to let the fibers heat up and then use the cool shot to cool them completely, and then you release it from your styling tool. So what I want to do is I want to kind of just brush down this top and make it a little bit flatter and maybe even curl these a little bit more forward. I didn't like the way it was flipping back, so I'm going to try to do that. And I'm going to leave the sound on. You can turn it down. In the last video I did, I turned the sound off so as not to bother you guys, but some people were like, how loud is that thing? I can't tell. So this way you'll get to hear it. All right, so I'm going to put it on the low fan, and I feel it, and it's coming out warm. I notice a lot of times I forget after I use the cool shot to put it back, and then it's not getting warm. So I just want to make sure it's getting warm here. Okay, so it is getting warm, and it's not even that warm. So we'll see if this is enough to create the style I'm looking for. I really want to separate that hair from the part and get some of that poof out. for me. And what I'm going to do in the front here is I'm just going to take these, wrap it around, and just hold it there. Till the fibers get warm. And it's really not even peeling that warm. I may switch to medium heat. We'll see what happens with this. I'm going to put it on cool shot. And turn it off. And let's see. Yeah, it's changing it a little bit. And I think I'm going to curl the bangs down because I think I'll like that a little bit better. So I'm going to try it with the brush at first, and then I may move to the curling iron. So let me take the cool shot off. I'm going to actually wrap the fibers first in this brush and then turn it on. See if it feels warm. Oh, am I out of the camera here? There we go. And you have to hold it like 10 to 15 seconds till you feel the fibers getting warm, and then turn it to cool shot. There you go, and you can see how that works. So that curls that front part down there. So I'm going to continue. I'm going to curl the front down in the other side and flatten this as well, and I'll be right back. Okay, so far we've moved the hairline to the correct place. We've made the scalp visible using our powder. I've used my heat tool to just make it a little bit flatter, curl it under. I didn't like the flips, so I brought them in. And now we're going to put on the finishing touches. So another thing I like to do is, if you have some natural hair, you don't need a lot of it, you can do this. I go to the ear tab here, and you can see the line of the ear tab. Let's see there. And I have gray hair, so it doesn't exactly match, and I'll tell you what I'm going to do about that. But I take my rat tail comb, and I go in there, and I pull out my own natural hair along here. Okay, and you can see it doesn't match that well. I have gray in my hair. So what I can do, because this is darker, this wig is actually darker, it has brunettes in it than my natural hair, is I can take a rooting powder, which I have one here. I have it in brown. Now, I can do this to make my natural hair darker. I can't, if I want my natural hair to be blonde, it's not going to work with a blonde rooting powder. At least it hasn't for me. You could have your hair colored or color it yourself if you're going to always wear the same color wigs, in a color where you could pull it out and it would look natural. What I do though is, if I'm wearing a darker wig, I pull it out and I will take this rooting powder and I will put it along where you can see my gray along the hairline there, and all over the hair, which I'm going to do in a second for you. If I'm wearing a wig that's a completely different color, say a red, I just don't pull out my natural hair. I do what I can where I can. You can also do it, I don't need it here because I have bangs, you can actually bring your natural hair out from the hairline, and if you have a style where your hair is going back, you can brush your natural hair over it and it'll look like the hairs are coming out of your head. It'll cover this where that looks completely fake if this were up, but you'll have your hair coming out and you can actually style that over your wig and create a natural hairline. In this case, I don't need to do that, but I like to use my natural hair where I can. So I'm just gonna come over here and make it a little bit darker in the mirror because I can't see in the camera. So you can see I've made it darker and there may still be some spots here, but it doesn't have to be perfect. That's the beauty of this, as long as it blends enough. And let me pull out the other side and then I'll explain to you the rest of this process. Okay, and you can see this has more gray because I haven't put the rooting powder on yet. But then what happens is when I'm brushing my hair back or sticking it behind my ear like this, it looks very natural. It looks like the hair is coming out of the side of my head because it is. So that just gives you a more natural look around the edges of your wig. Now I'm going to put some rooting powder on this side because you can see if I just brush this back, I think that would show a little bit more. It's still not even that bad, but I will use the rooting powder over there as well. And I particularly like to pull the hair back and along this edge here, make it darker. Because if that's darker and I have a little bit of gray showing, it almost looks like it's blonde. So, okay, so now I have that. Let me just put this behind my ear as I would, because that's how I would wear this style. And I apologize for looking over here. It's the only way I can see. Okay, so there we go. So that's more the way I would wear my hair there. Now, the next thing is you can use some styling products. So for a shorter wig where I want the layers to be maybe a little bit piecey, or in a certain place, like I want to make my bangs maybe a little bit more wispy, I'll use John Renault's Peace Out Cream. I've had this for so long and that's how much I've used. So this goes a long way. You just want to use a tiny little bit, and that might even be a lot, and rub it between your fingers and then apply it wherever you want. I will use it to push down fibers that I want to stay down and just kind of mess with my bang a little bit to get it a little bit more wispy. I like a more wispy bang, nothing so heavy. And I'll just bring it around here. You don't need much of this at all. Okay, and this is definitely a style I would wear. Now, if you have a style that has curls or you've added curls to it, you may want to use something like a sea salt spray. That'll help to separate out the curls. You can use a hairspray to hold it in place. There's Aesthetica's Shape and Hold. Beltress also has one. And so if I wanted to just make sure that these fibers were going to stay down, I might do something like that. Oh, I like that better. Kind of smoothed it out. Yeah, just something like that. The beauty of this is, and especially with this new heat tool that you can use on a regular synthetic wig, is that you can take a wig out of your closet that you never thought you'd wear, and so many of us have those. In the beginning, I would get a wig, try it on, and be like, that's not for me, and I got it on clearance. I can't return it. I'd throw it in my closet. I'm taking them all out now, and I'm starting to work with them, and I can really make it anything I want. So if you have those wigs in your closet, pull them out. Play with them. Try all different things. Make them your own. You'll be surprised at what you can do with it. So now that I have this more like the way I would wear my hair, I could certainly put in accessories like a headband. That would be very cute. Where's my barrette? For this, I could pull the side back a little like this, put a barrette in, just make sure none of your wefting is showing. Something like that could be cute. One of the biggest keys to wearing a wig with confidence is to wear it in a way that it feels natural for you. So when you're working with it, just pretend that it's your natural hair. What would you do to it? How would you wear it? What accessories would you use? Which products? How would you style it? Do all of that. Okay, so I hope you found this helpful. Those are just some tips on how to make a regular synthetic basic cap wig look more natural. If you have some tips that I didn't show here, I'd love to hear about them. So put them in the comments below. When you do that, we learn together as a community. And speaking of community, don't forget, come on over to my private Facebook group, Frannie's Hair, if you haven't been there yet. We have, I think it's over 4,700 members now. Ladies showing themselves in all different wigs, all different colors, giving tips and tricks and support. And we have wig experts over there to answer your questions. It's a lot of fun, so come join us. All right, as always, thank you so much for joining me. I truly appreciate it. Remember to make it your own, and I'll see you soon.